Extra.
I think that's. Have you guys learned the song yet? The intro.
Wifey loves it. She's always jamming to it.
I do. I hear success with you guys' help. So, welcome to PODtober.
PODtober.
Day 9.
Day 9, almost in double digits.
Day 9.
Almost in double digits.
Yes, we've done it. A few hiccups, but we're here. We as in...
Did you guys enjoy that last video? Because it took some doing getting that out.
Oh, yeah.
It took some doing.
The devil didn't want it out.
Maybe, but...
It was Sunday and...
Yeah.
What it was with that discussion topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But welcome to the Shanic Way Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Shana J. The other is my handsome husband,
Eric.
And we are Team Shanic.
Extra.
Yes. Or this is the channel.
Yeah,
Team
right.
Shanic Extra. Both ways work.
We are Team Shanic.
We are Team Shanic.
And we're giving you
extra. Yes. Welcome.
Which means, are you getting the bare minimum, which is the vlog channel? If not, hop over to the vlog channel and get the baseline.
Yes.
And then come back here for the extra.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
It's going on. It's going down over on the vlog channel. Sunday's vlog was all that.
Kudos to wife for like all the editing. Like in this season of Vlogation, she does like 95% of the editing. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
But we have a quality control method where I do view and I'll make some tweaks
to the final.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And sometimes my tweaks don't even make it into the final cut.
What?
because of mistakes.
Oh.
But this is not what this discussion is about.
What's this discussion about? Because I thought it was about one thing, but you said it's about something else. I don't even think you remember what it's supposed to be about. Really.
I remember what this discussion is supposed to be about. So one of the reasons we felt like we could do a podcast too in a sea of a lot of podcasts is, number one, YouTube and the algorithm and the creators skew to a certain demographic, certain age range, certain upbringing, things like that. Just way of living. Like, you know, the fast and furious world of content, the TikTok generation. But that generation, I would say, does need, you know, guidance. Everyone needs guidance. And everyone needs an example. Not to say we're like perfect or anything like that, but we can speak to mistakes we have made. We can speak to a way of living.
Learned.
Right. You know, lessons we've learned, a way of living that we've experienced that, I mean, if I had YouTube, and this is another discussion just in terms of like content creators in our demographic, but I can honestly say, like, if I had YouTube the way it exists now in my 20s, things would be a lot different because all the resources and the information that's on here is mind-blowing.
It is.
You know, and that's what most people, I would say in our age range, use it as, but it's here for the younger people too. So I think if I were 18, 20, 25, 30, I mean, while looking at my peers and enjoying the way that they go about life and aspiring to do that would be fun, I would want to look at like what's down the road. You know,
True
I would
facts.
want to see, is there a future me on this platform that can kind of give me some insight. So we're trying to do that from a faith perspective, from a marriage perspective.
Which is what I said in a previous podcast on why I was even pre-social media always getting information from the wiser.
Right.
Like I sought that even before, because what does the future look like?
Right.
While the youth think they're invincible and always going to be young, they're not.
Right.
And I learned that last night.
Right. So in that same spirit, we asked ourselves the same question, which is the topic of this podcast. What are the things that we were told by our parents that we didn't listen to, or we didn't like immediately have awareness of or understand. So that was one part. And then on a more fun level, like what are some of the things that our parents do or did that we don't do? So we can start anywhere. I mean, if you want me to start,
I feel like this is going to be a little difficult for us, though. The
why do you
first
say
part.
that?
Because,
I can tell you a couple of things my dad told me to do that I just didn't do.
oh, okay.
And
Well,
it
you
was,
go first while I think.
yeah, I mean, it was in college. My dad worked for a long period of time as a systems analyst for a lot of companies that you would still know today by name. In undergrad, I was a math major. I always felt like my degree in math or my math major would come with something else. Like I would tack on something to it. And that never really happened. Not to go too deep into it, I did get accepted into a couple of like master's programs at different points in life, but they just didn't like manifest or didn't become anything, that would become a part of my overall career. Anyway, going back to sophomore year, maybe could have been freshman year. I think it was sophomore year. I was taking intro to computer science. I was doing okay. I went into the final with a B. And my dad was like, just make sure just take you some computer science classes, like, learn how to do some code and stuff like that, because that was his life. Like he worked, as I said, as a systems analyst and knew COBOL, which was a programming language that was on the decline, but since he knew it, he could make the transition from that language to C and C++. And again, this is before like Python and R and some of the stuff that's out today. But yeah, he told me straight up, learn you some code. And I was like, no, I don't want to learn no code. I didn't say it like that, but basically that's what I said. Like, I wanted to be doing something because I was passionate about it, not because I was really looking to secure employment at that age. I felt like that's what the math major was doing. And to some extent, it has done that. Mm-hmm. But to be specialized in something and to have a clear skill that has a price tag on it, where you can say, I'm skilled at this programming language and I can give you this amount of work. Like you will always have a consulting job, mm-hmm. or a 6-month engagement, or a full-time job if you want one. Now, companies ebb and flow and they get rid of programmers and they add programmers, but as a skill, especially now, it's always sought after. So to wrap that one up, that was a situation where my dad specifically told me to do something, like it wasn't an order, but he was talking to me grown person to grown person. You're young, I'm older, I'm wiser. You should take more computer science classes. And I did not.
Right. Well, I guess when you started talking about that, then mine is pretty similar, just a little different. So coming out of high school, since middle school, I knew I wanted to be a dentist. I had some extreme infatuation, interest, whatever, with being a dentist. I was never afraid to go. I remember going to the dentist and asking, like, what tool is this? What tool is that? I wasn't afraid or anything. He was like, what tool is this? Yeah. I was really like, and I love going to the dentist. Like, that's just even to this day. Anyway, so I wanted to be a dentist. So I actually got applied and got accepted into Charleston Southern. And didn't go. Mm-hmm. And my father was furious about it. You're wasting your life. You're not going. And it wasn't that I at the time, it wasn't that I knew if I wasn't ever going to go, but I wanted to go to cosmetology school because I was doing hair in school. And I felt like that was my natural progression, mm-hmm. I was already making money at it and such. And so I actually moved out of state to go to Dudley Academy. If anyone here is listening, I don't even know if Dudley's still around, but they were like top tier cosmetology school at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I, went to cosmetology school. Later on, life happens, you know, and I then decide I'm gonna go back to dental school. But then that kind of shattered because in me finding out that I would have to do time like on a campus, you know, because it's really just you have to put in your clinical time, and I had a daughter by that time, and so it was like, how I'm not gonna be able to do this. Which then, I got a full-time job at a company here in Atlanta, and they offered tuition for college, and that's where I ended up at business school. So yeah,
So that
I
was the
regretted
setup, but
that.
where was the you said Nana was trying to tell you something in that, like you didn't.
No, I said my dad was
Oh,
upset.
your dad. I thought you said this was coming from.
My dad was upset. My mom actually was like, let her go ahead. If that's what she
Okay.
wants to do, let her do that. My mom has always been a supporter of me, of like, she knew I was going to be okay. And she was going to be there for me regardless. And she has. And but my dad was more of the, you're going to go
So he wanted you to go stay on
to college.
track,
Yes.
and
And
you
I
didn't do
didn't.
it. Okay.
Right. And he was, he was going to pay for college and everything. But at that decision, I remember they were on the phone, and he was like, I'm not paying for her to go anywhere else. He told my mom, he's like, I'm not paying for her to go anywhere else. She want to move out of state and da da da. I'm not paying for that. I don't support that. And she was just like, okay, I'll handle it. And so I do. Now in hindsight, I may have been able to make it work somehow, but I feel like, to your point, in technology and where social media and just life in general has, in my opinion, and I know a lot of young kids may not feel this way, I guess with our record and our knowledge of the past and what all we had to do to get through, if we had Uber and people who, apps where you can get babysitters, and you can make money without having to go to a 9 to 5, where I could be home with her, or work from home, I would have probably could have made a way to go. And at the time, I didn't have those things. We didn't
Yeah.
have those things. So I had to go to a 9 to 5 and have daycare and take her, you know what I'm saying? And even in college, like, I barely saw her even then, because I remember picking her up from daycare, you know, going to 9 to 5, picking her up from daycare, going home, feeding her real quick, and having a night daycare lady in her home, because I was going to night school, night classes at night. So it was much harder. And to your point, like, but I don't know if I necessarily regret it, though, like, that I'm not growing up in this time, because obviously God places us where
Yeah, I
we
don't think I said
are.
that.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but, like, I feel like the grit and the hustle and the figure it out, you know what I mean, that we had, or that I had, I appreciate more from not having everything literally at my fingertips. You know what I'm saying? Because even with things at people's fingertips now, it's like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away that it's not, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even if you were to take them back, I guess 30 years, and ask them to go research something, and they got to go to a library and look through a card catalog. A card catalog, everyone. Yeah. To figure out which books, which author, writing the work site, the bibliography, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Versus just pulling up on the internet
Right.
and it being right there.
Right.
Okay, so let's switch gears around the same spirit of the topic, or the same theme. Have there been any life lessons, life quotes from your parents that have stuck with you? Like, either things that they always kind of put out there as things you should do to live a life well or to be a certain type of person?
Just right off the rip, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. Like my mom would always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
That's a good one.
So, and that's just with anything, and I think that falls in the category of, you catch more bees with honey.
Yeah. And it's interesting that that's a life phrase that is still important, but how would you even apply that to like over the internet? It's not how you type, but how you type it. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's not, but it is.
it is, because people read stuff and they add a tone.
Yeah.
So you can't say things with the same compassion behind it and the same truth or the same directness.
So then that
people
would
will add an element of
then
emotion.
don't say it.
Well, definitely not typing, but again, that quote was made for a time where people were on the phone. They actually talked on the phone.
Yeah.
Or they talked in person,
A phone with a cord attached to the wall.
That was spiral and stretched. I was like, all right, old people, we get it. Yeah, that's a good one. My dad wasn't like big on a lot of like quotes. He just had a lot of answers for the issues or the things that I was curious about at the time. So it could be something as big as, school and just navigating that, or what to do, or something as, mundane as like, how do I reset the circuit breaker, something like that, or, fix the washing machine. Like he just has a breadth of knowledge that
he does.
I just don't have, paid attention to, but just didn't absorb it. If I needed to build something, I could build it for myself, but I wouldn't pay anybody, or I wouldn't charge anybody for the thing that I would build for myself, if that makes sense. Like if I needed to build a table for me, I could build it. I would be perfectly okay with it. I would be perfectly okay with her eating on it, me eating on it. But the minute you bring a third party person into it, I'm like, I'm not sure about that table. Like, it might not be safe. So that's, that goes with skill and confidence and all that kind of stuff, and just working in a certain area. But one thing I will say my dad hinted at as a life lesson was just be intentional when you get involved in something. Like, don't have behind anything. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Don't lollygag on anything. If you're going to do something, like, completely do it or fully commit to it. Like, otherwise, don't get involved. And a lot of times he would apply that to, extracurricular stuff or sports or even a particular game. It's like, if you don't want to play today, I can take you home. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll get in.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So it's a good life lesson that still applies. I think a little bit more difficult practically when you're trying to meet other responsibilities. You can't always do what you want, but at the same time, if you're doing something, commit to doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that goes kind of hand in hand with the like work unto the Lord thing. Like you might not enjoy the thing you're doing, but if you're doing it, then do it.
Yeah.
And any boss worth their grit or worth their reputation or their title would appreciate that from an employee. You just commit into doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So for this generation, what is something from our parents' generation that you think they would benefit from learning or being taught or being exposed to? So it's not us teaching them, because we've tried. But what from our parents' generation do you think the current, I guess at this point, they're 20-somethings, mid-20s, 18 to 25. What do you think they would benefit from our parents' generation
today?
I think you said it already, but
what was it?
Just the grit. Not that we didn't have grit, but they had a different kind of.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, that's not how I understood the question. Okay, yeah, for sure, the grit.
Yeah.
And even, each generation is different, right? The previous generation always says how the new generation is either lazier or
Yeah.
lost, and it's just gotten worse or whatever the case. So, I guess we've become our parents in that
Oh
to
yeah,
some
it's
regard for
cyclical.
sure. But I do admire their grit, and it's I don't know if it's unfortunate, but like even in the workforce, it's like being able to be on a job for a period of time, retiring out of that job and being proud of what you did at that job, at that company, or what have you, and celebrating life later,
Mm-hmm.
I think is admirable. And
Yeah.
now we are more in a, if I don't feel good, if I don't feel right, I can move, or I'm progressing to move up and up and up, or the company, because even companies now don't even care about it really.
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
mean,
They
it's
really
like a
don't
cause
care
and
about it.
effect. Like,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
okay, So I mean, I honestly don't know people who are working 30 years on one job anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We have to be more responsible with our financial finances now than they did, because they were
Oh,
able to
absolutely.
invest in that company grow, and then they have it. Now
Yeah.
we gotta know all the things and do all the things
Yeah. I mean, even the cost of things at the time. So
in the cost.
I
Yeah.
guess another way to ask the same question, and first I'll start with this statement. It seems like every generation, in some way, shape, or form, tries to compensate for a perceived flaw in the teachings or the mannerisms of the previous generation. So, what do you think we overcorrected for from our parents' generation? What do you think we saw in them that we were like, when we're parents or when we're adults, we're not going to do X, Y, Z?
Probably being more understanding with our kids. You know,
Friend parents.
I mean, I guess that's what it ends up being, because they lose respect. I mean, the way that I see children talking, speaking to their parents now is amazing. But probably that, just having understanding.
But see, I didn't experience that. Like my
I mean, mine
parents
did,
were
but
understanding.
mine were too. Well, my
But just because
mom.
you're understanding does not mean that you
There's not
aren't
the
a
same fear.
disciplinarian. Like there's still
That's true,
you still
but you can't do it now.
you can't discipline your kids
I
now. You can't tell your kids
mean,
to do something and expect for them to do it.
you can definitely expect for them to do it. You can expect for them to do it.
And then
Will they
let them
do?
know that there are repercussions if you do
You
not do
can
it.
let them know that too.
And when I say let them know,
What do you mean?
I mean let them know.
And how do you do that?
Give little Billy a timeout.
Okay, time out
You
was
sit over there,
fine.
little Billy. Okay.
I mean, I just think that the level of
No
fear.
Xbox, little Billy. You can play PlayStation, but no Xbox.
Really?
His favorite game is on Xbox.
Oh,
There is no Billy. I'm just
we get it.
anyway.
No, I mean, I think that it's different. I think that the access and the ability to know that there is such some life way of life different from yours all over you, all over the world, meaning on their cell phone, versus when we were growing up and your life was your house and the homes around. It just has opened the door for them to be less fearful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, so you can do all those things. And I'm not saying that all children are doomed either. I'm not saying that that there aren't children out there who listen and who who
Mm-hmm.
aren't respectful. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we know firsthand the majority, the things have changed. The yes ma'ams, the no ma'ams, the good morning, the hellos, the goodbyes, the thank yous.
You know
The
what?
all of that has lessened.
Quick story. I was at the airport, about to get me something to eat, waiting on you to pick me up. And this kid comes next to me. He says, "Excuse me, sir, can you get me a Fanta orange?" And I was so surprised and taken aback by the fact that he said, "Excuse me, and sir, could you get me a Fanta orange?" I was like, "You can reach it." That was my response.
Oh my God. So the adults have changed too.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. But yeah, that was my response. And I honestly, it was my response because I was like, and I didn't say it in a rude way. I was just like, go, I was like, go ahead and reach it. I said it
Oh,
like that.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Instead of like, wow, that was wow. No,
Well, you didn't want to make a
you
big
go
deal.
ahead and you reach it, little guy. You get it. Plus, touching people's drinks and water. Like I wouldn't want people to do that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he asked is, again, the way he asked was amazing. Was like of a different era. Kudos to the parents.
Yes.
But I was so taken aback that all I could say was, you go ahead and get it.
Yes. And they exist because they come in the store. There are young adults and who come in the store and they are, yes, ma'am. They are very respectful. So I am not saying that they do not exist. I'm just saying, and maybe I could be, bringing that offline too, because I see it
Well, we even follow
online
some teachers
who talk about it.
who just like when they address their teachers, they want to address them with first name.
Yes, first
and like
names.
you guys, little inside baseball. When our daughter would bring boys around and they would call me by my first name,
He'd be like,
and I understand like the dynamic of us, me being a bonus dad or whatever you want to call it, makes it different, but for her, but not for the boyfriend. I'm still Mr. Blank to him. You know what I mean? So you already getting off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, it just is. It's just different, and so.
But you know what? Going back to the overcorrection, I think our generation overcorrected on work-life balance.
Oh yeah.
Because we saw our parents like work.
Oh yeah.
Like all day, all the time,
That's
and
true.
then when they got home,
I feel like mine still worked.
There wasn't so much energy for family. Whereas we,
you think so?
Our parents' generation, like they put more into work than I think we do.
Oh yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Oh
so
yes.
we overcorrected for them being more workaholics than us.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and even the next generation after us even took it further, I would say.
Got it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. So, what do you think the generation after us, right? Because we're millennials, and then their generation, what? Z? And then after that is Generation Alpha.
Alpha, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think those two generations should take
I
from
think
us?
that there's going to be a reversion. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Things will revert.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people are somewhere. I feel like they're remnants of going back, because honestly, things do come back around.
Things happen in cycles.
They come back around. There's a reset of thoughts and thinking, and is this correct, or should we do it this way, or maybe the old way wasn't too bad. And I don't hope for that for all the things.
Yeah, it's like when we talked about new math and the phonics conversation from one of the previous podcasts. Like, who thought this was advancing the way people learn?
Yeah.
And was there nobody in the room to say this is not a good idea?
Right. So certain things, because I do feel like the world is going to continue to progress and move forward in technology and things of that nature. But I do think that there will be some resetting of minds going forward, where children will start to kind of see that things have gotten out of control and correct that. I can't remember what it was, who said it or something. I feel like I heard this in church where it was talking about a father. Oh, how does it go? Like a father who allows their son to do whatever they want. You'll see a man who grows up to be lazy, and a father. I'm going to find it. I will find it. Hubby's going to put it below. But it was just talking about the value of hard work when you raise your children, and how you create a lazy person versus an entitled person but I'll find it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then wrapping it up, what are some of the things that our parents do or have done that we don't? So
I
we
know
kind of
right off
talked
the
about
rip.
this, that we don't cook Sunday dinner the way my parents cook Sunday dinner. Because first off, my dad can cook. And then when I say can
Chef,
cook, he can cook. I cannot hold a candle to his cooking. My
like,
brother
why he not
is
getting
trying to
paid?
get
I don't
there,
know.
but I definitely didn't get that. But Sunday dinner, like,
Throw down.
you know, all the trimmings, everything, two vegetables, a starch,
And it
two
tastes
two
like
meats.
you really paid for that meal.
Right. Like you went to S&S
For
cafeteria or Piccadilly or something.
Nah, way better than
I
that.
mean, way better, but with
Oh,
that kind of
oh, like
spread.
yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh
definitely
yes, for sure.
that kind of
Yes.
spread though.
Yes, yes.
So that's one thing, and then the other thing, and this is a conspiracy by the corporation, because you can always blame the corporation for some stuff, is the ability to repair things with parts. They make things now where first off, you can't even get into the inside of it, and the part repair community. You know, there used to be a whole sector of the American economy just built on repairing things.
Yeah.
So if you needed
A
a
washer and
radio
dryer.
repaired, yeah, or a television repaired, you would take it to the TV repair person who would order the parts, had to know how to fix it and do it. Now there is like a sub community of people on YouTube who are trying to revive that, but even finding the parts or the special tools to even get inside
Yes.
the products, it's not like it used to be, you know. So the
You
ability to
can't
just
be
repair stuff
self-sufficient, yeah.
on your own by reading the manual, getting the parts that, or even taking it to the right person in the community to do that has been long since gone. Holistically, I mean, like I say, little pockets, but it's not a main thing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the two
I
for
would
me.
say for me it's like just having family gatherings.
Our
Like
family actively tries.
we try, but it's still the older people that are trying to do it. It
Older
is,
like us though.
huh?
The older like us. The committee is our age.
Okay, yeah, but that's still more recent. I think for the most part, and I know that there are families out there that get together and all the things, but if you really think about the phase out and the people who are there, I don't think that it is to the level as it used to be when your grandma was
Yeah,
alive.
that's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? Where everybody was there. The matriarchs who have passed, if you really think about your family, you know, now that auntie so and so is gone and grandma and great grandma is gone, people have, because now we live in a time where the family breaks off and moves to different states. I mean, look at the airports. Everybody got to fly to each other. Well, I can't come this holiday, but I can come that holiday or whatever. And back in the day, everybody lived around the corner.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody, and even when we got together, like y'all, they just drive to auntie's house. You know what I'm saying? His family is still more close than mine in terms of location, but because my whole family still lives where they are. But I'm just saying, like the younger, like my cousins and stuff like that, we don't really do that much on a regular basis to say, hey, everybody come over to so and so's house because we're having a cookout or we're having Sunday dinner.
Now it definitely was more on the fly back in the day,
Yeah,
because my
very on
parents'
the
house
fly.
used to be the party house, and
My mom's
any
house
given
used to be.
Sunday, like 7, 8 cars would make their way over, and it just turned into something.
Yeah, the people don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Not as
because
much.
you know what,
I'm
you
gonna
need
say
to
not as
call
much.
before you come.
For
Over.
sure.
You need to call before
And
you
what
come.
are you coming over for?
Except for
And how
my,
long are
except for
you?
Auntie Cat. Auntie Cat come over anytime she wants.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. I think that that's different.
yeah, it is.
I think we have the desire. I think I wouldn't
The
mind.
vid had a big part of that too. Like
Yeah.
social,
sure.
and you can always blame social media for it too.
Social media. I mean, we just at church on Sunday. That's what that topic was, where people's belief system was. I think you can add a whole lot of other things to 2005,
2005. Yeah.
where people were and where people are now. People are sadder. People are more depressed. Families have broken up. People have created their own families. With people they've met around them, and that's fine.
Found family. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine too. But most of the time people like to stay right like within their own little globe of little section of their home.
Yeah, All right. Well, what do you want to learn from us old heads? Okay, we're here to talk to you, to help you all out,
Older.
to provide that wisdom.
You got to add the ER for
And
me.
and on the flip side, what should we learn, you younger folks watching? What do you want to teach us? I mean, put it in the comments. Be respectful, obviously. Don't send us no place crazy. But but what would our generation stand to do better at and learn from you guys? Are we too uptight? Is that a thing? I don't think so, but
I don't think so. I mean, we have a daughter now operating in her mid-20s, and I feel like we are pretty
chill.
yeah, we're pretty chill. Like, okay, girl, let's talk
We
it
got
through.
that Riz, y'all.
Let-
Look, when the word hits us, when it gets to our level, it's over. It's over. I'm gonna make Riz die. I'm gonna use it so much it dies. Not even gonna use it right. I'm Eric. This is Shane J.
Yes, I am.
And this has been the Shanic Way Podcast on Team Shanic.